Hi, this is Sherry from the blog OurLifeHomeschooling.com, where I share homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. I'm going to be talking today about how to start homeschooling when you have no idea what you are doing. So this video is for those of you who may have a kindergartner this year, or maybe a child who is entering kindergarten, and you love the idea of homeschooling. You just don't know how to start or if you're on the right track. It's also for those of you who have been maybe viewing homeschooling from afar and it looks so appealing. You have friends that are doing it, you've seen other families, and you just love the lifestyle. You finally decided to take the plunge, but you are intimidated and you just don't know where to start. I'm going to give you 5 steps to help you get started homeschooling today. If you're new to my channel, I am a former public school teacher turned homeschool mom. I'm married to my high school sweetheart for 22 years. We have 9 kids and 1 on the way, and I love encouraging other moms in their homeschool journeys. If you are a brand new homeschooler, the very first thing that you need to do is to familiarize yourself with the homeschool laws in your state. This is one thing that I've seen kind of puts people off initially. Even though they want to try homeschooling, they just don't know how to break into the system. They want to do it legally, but it just seems kind of more complicated, and just being unsure of some of the paperwork and the requirements of the local school districts can really just make them kind of put it off. What I have found is that in most states, it's very easy to homeschool. There's not a ton of requirements, and it's really like anything else. You know, when you start something, it's that initial getting into something, getting registered for it, and getting started. After that, all of that's behind you, and you can just do what you've been wanting to do all along. So it's worth taking that first step, finding out what to do to homeschool in your state. Homeschool Legal Defense Association is an excellent resource for homeschoolers. It's a website. It tells you everything about how to get started. You can go and look on there and find your specific state and what is required. They have sample forms. They take you step by step through. Even in my state, the state of Pennsylvania, this is considered one of the most or more difficult states to homeschool in. I can say that after looking at what's required, it's really not all that much. It's just doing the necessary steps, and then we've had no difficulty homeschooling in our state. So familiarize yourself with the laws of your state and get started in the process. The second step is to find a community of homeschoolers. No man is an island. I've had lots of people tell me, oh yeah, we tried homeschooling and they only do it for a year and they loved the idea, but it just didn't work. You know, they tell me it didn't work. And I think the reason it didn't work is because they did not break into the homeschool community. The homeschool community now is thriving. And if you don't have a lot of support in your area, if there's not a lot of homeschool co-ops or groups, they are probably coming to your area very soon, because the homeschool community at large is just growing and thriving. I think for so many parents, this is another way that they can kind of get in a rut. It's so much easier to just go with the default of the school system. You know, when you put your kids in school, you can be assured that they have opportunities for sports, for drama, for, you know, all these extracurricular things that you want them to have. You don't want them to miss out on. Those things are also available in the homeschool community, in homeschool co-ops. There are so many opportunities that you may not be aware of just because it's not as widely publicized as some of the things in your local public school. So it's worth it to find a group of homeschoolers. I would suggest 2 things. First, that you find a local group. So join a co-op, or if you have friends at church that homeschool, just be part of a group where you can, first of all, ask other moms what they're doing and make friends with other moms. That is just as important for you as a homeschool mom as it is for your kids to have friends. You need to have someone that you can bounce ideas off of, or find out what they're doing well, and what they've struggled with or what is not working. It's really important for you to find a community for yourself as a mom. And of course, obviously, finding a local group of homeschoolers is going to help your kids to make friends. And it's also, for me, it's been a way that we have found out about a lot of the opportunities in the area that our kids can get involved in. Our kids have been able to do sports. They have been part of drama programs. They've gone to cooking competitions. I mean, I could go on and on. There are so many things available to homeschoolers. You just have to break into the community and find out about them. The second thing is, I would also encourage you to find an online community. Find a Facebook group for homeschoolers. This is not going to give you that real personal connection, but it is a way to find out from other people what curriculums they loved or what problems they've come up against. And it's just one more avenue for you. But I would definitely say, don't only find an online group, because you really need that local personal connection with other homeschoolers. The third step is to pick a curriculum and just start. There is no perfect curriculum, and you really pretty much just have to try something before you know your style, your kid's style, and to figure out if it's going to work for you. One of the best ways to find what is most popular and what most people like is just to ask another homeschool mom. So find a friend that that has been homeschooling for a while, and ask her, hey, what do you guys use? What have you used in the past that you really didn't like? The best way to find out what curriculum is good is just by word of mouth. Ask around. But once you decide on a curriculum, you should just start. There are always going to be things that you don't like about it or that you want to change, no matter what you pick. So just keep going. You can kind of cut out things as you go along if you realize this isn't working for you. And maybe by the end of the year, you'll decide if you really like this and want to continue, or if you want to try something else. The fourth step is to read a lot. Set aside time every day to read to your kids, or set aside maybe a couple times a day to read to your kids. Read to them frequently. Read in small chunks throughout the day. Reading covers a multitude of deficiencies. You may feel like I'm just not good at such and such a subject, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to teach it. But if you read to them, it's going to cover any gaps that you might have in your homeschool. If you think about it, other than math, which is a skill, and writing, which is an expression of reading, an outflow of reading, almost everything else we learn can be learned through reading. So when you read aloud to your kids, read fiction, read chapter books, read nonfiction, biographies. All these things are exposing them to a wider world, to more ideas. It's exposing them to just so many different cultures and opportunities. So you should be reading to your kids often. Set aside at least one time a day where you are sitting down next to them and reading to them. The fifth step is don't compare and don't doubt yourself. One of the reasons that homeschooling is so successful is because kids are able to learn at their own pace and according to their own interest. So they're not expected to measure up with this standard across the board that everyone in fourth grade is supposed to be at. They are free to pursue certain things more than others. They have free time to pursue their interests. The reason why homeschooling is so successful is because kids have the freedom and the time to learn at their own pace and to pursue their interests. And so sometimes your child may just have a certain interest in this area and they can just take off in that. And of course, there's always going to be other things that they're weaker at. But in homeschooling, the best part of it is the fact that you can focus on your child as an individual, not as part of a larger group and some mold that they're supposed to fit into. So don't compare yourself. Comparing yourself is kind of going backwards instead of forwards. Homeschooling is about individuality. Don't doubt yourself. You may think, I can't remember how to divide decimals, or oh no, my child is, this week they're supposed to learn how to add fractions with unlike denominators, and I haven't done that in 15 years. You will learn as you go. And that's another thing that's so great about homeschooling, is that you learn alongside your child. You're exploring the world together. You're learning concepts, relationships together, how things function and how things operate in the world. So if you come across something that intimidates you and you feel like you can't do it, just know that you can just learn alongside them. And by doing that, you're doing exactly what's working for so many homeschoolers. So don't doubt and don't compare yourself. The important thing is that you and your child are making progress every day. So these are the 5 steps that I would suggest to help you get started. If this video was helpful to you, would you please like and subscribe to show YouTube that this is the kind of content you want to see more of? I would also encourage you to head on over to another video that I have done, Advice from Homeschool Moms for Beginners. This also will give you some advice about how to get started homeschooling from moms that have been doing it for a while. Thanks for listening in. Have a great day.